You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Infinite diversity.
Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on the BQN Podcast Collective. I'm your host for today, Thad, and joining me is my co-host, Chrissy. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. I have the distinct impression that I have fallen out of my Starfleet career and into Jurassic World, but other than that, I think we're okay as long as I stay away from the Velociraptors. How are you doing?
Well, one of those lizard things sprayed me with something, and now the other ones don't want to eat me, so I think it's a good thing, right?
Yeah, for a few minutes anyway.
Also joining us today is BQN's own Mark White. Mark, how are you today?
Hi, laddies and lasses. I escaped in a shuttlecraft and was able to boost up the warp engines and get them to go faster, so I avoided the Gorn. But yeah, I'm doing great.
That's good.
Glad to hear it.
Sorry, my favorite part of this episode that we're going to be talking about today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
I was
mine too.
Hands down.
We'll get more into that, but yes, I was giddy. I'm still giddy.
Before we jump into that, we'll take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons who make our show possible, particularly our associate producers, Carl Wonders and Chrissie De Clerck-Szilagyi. Listeners, you may hear your name, and you can even hear your name listed as one of our associate producers for a monthly subscription of just $10 at patreon.com/BQN. And with a monthly Patreon subscription of just $5, you can join our meetings at the Hive Mind on the second Saturday of each month. Watch your Patreon messages for details. All right. I don't think we have any Star Trek news this week.
I don't
Especially
think so.
since we just recorded like less than a week ago.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty quiet. The strike is still happening. Star Trek is still not being made, so not much to talk about.
Well, live action.
Right. Yes.
We know they're working on Prodigy, so
Yeah, and I can't remember if I mentioned this on the podcast. I don't think I did. I'm starting to wonder if we might get 2 seasons of Lower Decks next year.
I'd be all right with that. That would be a smart way for them to fill this gap.
Right. Because they can still produce that because it's a separate contract. It's not under negotiation. So voice acting for TV animation is okay, and writing for TV animation is an entirely separate union, which is also okay. So
far.
Right.
I think if this goes on a whole lot longer, we're going to be seeing a lot more solidarity strikes from the rest of the community. What do you think, Mark?
Yes.
He's like,
Mark
I just want to talk about Scotty.
Mark came on here to talk about the Star Trek episode, not about our weird predictions.
Okay. That's a lot.
So, without further ado, let's do that. We are here to talk about the season finale of Star Trek Strange New World Season 2, Hegemony. Mark, what did you think this week?
Wow. Yeah, I saw a couple of people online that just commented on the fact that it was very cinematic, and I definitely got that too. It's Strange New Worlds. I haven't been disappointed at all this season. It's been lovely, but extra lovely this week. Can we say that? Really enjoyed it. So many levels. I think, well, I mean, we're going to get into all the reasons why here, but initial impressions, just I immediately wanted to rewatch again. So there we go.
That's the best compliment for any episode of anything, really.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it as well. I think, same with you, Mark, there was not a single episode I didn't like this season. I thought this was very well done. I thought they handled the Gorn better than I was afraid they might. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Chrissy, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. As I've said the few times that we've dealt with the Gorn so far, I still need an explanation as to how you go from a bunch of Gorn babies trying to kill each other because of instinctual drives to space flight. But I'm sure they will explain it. I love the way the adult Gorn looked. I kind of, if it had been me, and it's not me, but if it had been me, I would have tried to make them a little bit like the hadrosaur people that we ran into on Voyager. Not like the hadrosaur kind, but like with the same idea of this is a dinosaur, gone sentient. But that's me.
And it was great that they brought back a guy in a suit, though. It was cool that they made him a guy in a rubber suit.
That I don't know about, or are you being sarcastic?
You didn't watch the Ready Room?
I watch the Ready Room before this.
That was the adult Gorn was a dude in a suit.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. What a great design. Kudos to the prop team.
Mm-hmm.
Like even all the different iterations of Gorn. It's just cool seeing practical effects. I love them, and I love practical effects. I'm a nerd.
We all are. That's why we're here.
We had cool practical effects last season with the Gorn episode 2, where they were the puppets, and we got that a little bit again this season, which I think worked pretty well. It's interesting that they have tails.
Why?
They didn't in TOS and in Enterprise.
Okay. Yeah, point. TOS, I knew that. I guess I didn't know about Enterprise.
I mean, the less said about that CGI abomination in Enterprise, the better. But
they tried.
Species differentiation. I mean, how many Gorn did we see on Enterprise? I totally don't remember about this. One. And so we've seen 2 Gorn so far.
Yes.
Who may have met with terrible accidents that they lost their tails.
Exactly.
Well, like the Andorians can get their their antenna cut off and can just continue to function, and it grows back at some point. So maybe that happened to both of the Gorn that we had seen so far.
And there may simply be some tailless Gorn, like, Manx cats.
Yeah.
Species differentiation. What a concept. Like I always say about the Klingons.
Mm-hmm.
And, humans. Yeah.
Infinite diversity.
Exactly. I like that since they had a tail, they were using it, as a prehensile tail, and actually, using it for balance and climbing and hanging off of stuff. So
it was weird how it worked in a spacesuit. And I was trying to figure out, okay, was the tail in the spacesuit? Was it not in the spacesuit? I think it was.
I think the only part that was in a spacesuit was like the face.
I think, didn't he have gloves on?
Oh yeah, okay, but it wasn't like a full body spacesuit like humans would need to do. It reminded me more of like, remember the Herosian in Voyager? They sort of they had like their face masks, but they still had parts of their face, parts of their head like exposed to vacuum because they could handle it. And I think that's what we're seeing with the Gorn as well.
Another interesting adaptation that I don't understand the evolutionary trail from a clutch of eggs trying to kill each other. But that's fine.
Yeah, and I don't think we're ever going to get an explanation for that, unfortunately. But I am just glad that we did see an adult Gorn that was not just, a xenomorph.
Yeah.
A little bit of that. But...
Oh, geez.
What?
From Land of the Lost.
Oh,
Slee Stack.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, that's all right.
Wow, I'm really.
I normally only ever think of Land of the Lost once a year when I walk past that one booth at STOV where the couple actors from Land of the Lost always are.
Living in the Land of the Lost.
Why would they set up at STLV?
Because it was a show there's overlap between fans of 60s sci-fi shows.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, I think Land of the Lost was 70s, wasn't it?
I think
Close
so.
enough.
Either way, it was before my time.
It was before my time, too. Just for the record, I'm not that old, but I do remember it in reruns as a child. So there's that.
Yeah.
I liked the concept as a child.
Thank the gods for reruns, otherwise we all wouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
My only direct experience watching Land of the Lost was that really bad reboot movie like a decade ago.
I avoided that.
I don't think I've
You
seen
made the
any
right
of it.
choice, honestly.
Yeah.
No, I saw the cast and I was like, yeah, this isn't going to go well. And it didn't.
All right.
It went down about as well as the Bewitched reboot.
I'm pretty impressed at how well long distance FaceTime calls work in Star Trek or on Strange New Worlds.
Particularly the plot device from last week might make that think it's
Yeah. Well, it's like going back. They've been doing that a bunch this season because there was when La'an calls Kirk at the end of Tomorrow, and because as I recall, that's sometimes how it works in previous shows, but also like if you got like far enough out, there was still some delay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even on Next Gen. Yeah.
I don't remember there being like the lines across the screen like buffering and that kind of thing. So immediately when that started happening, I was like, they're not commenting on this? Oh, sorry for the buffer. Oh, that's weird. It seems like something's wrong with the signal, blah, blah, blah. Like, because we don't typically see that.
Yeah.
And so it was a, red flag for the viewers, but they just didn't say anything about it. And I thought that was weird.
I mean, how many times if you're talking to somebody on the phone and there's a bit of static, do you say anything about it as if you didn't, if it didn't interrupt them?
Yeah.
Although I may be looking back to my childhood, I don't know how often there's static on a phone anymore. I so rarely talk on a phone, much less a landline.
It still happens, and people still use landlines.
Yeah, no, I know.
I can tell you, as someone who works for a phone company, people still use landlines.
Yep, my parents had one.
And there are still lots of people for whom a landline is their only phone. I mean, they are all generally your parents' age or older, but there are a lot of them.
Yeah. But I agree. That was the staticky, whatever you want to call it, interference. That was a giveaway that something weird was going on. Yeah.
I was going to say, what did you guys think of the planet itself? Parnassus Beta? No, listen, I immediately was drawn to it because somebody, I watch TOS on a fairly regular basis. No, it's not my favorite Trek, but it's the Trek I've seen the least. So I tend to put it on, like, especially before bed. I don't really care if I finish the episode. I can fall asleep, whatever. So with that said, and TIS, with that said, especially early on, there was a lot of Federation colonies that looked like old Earth. Oh, we're going to start a colony and it's going to be old Earth. They did that in TNG too with the Scotland planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of along those lines, and I found it extremely amusing and appropriate. I don't know. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, what was it? They used to call it. There was an actual sociological theory that they gave in TOS. Some kind of somebody's law of parallel evolution.
Hodgkin's law of parallel development. It was either it was development.
Development, not evolution, but I mean, that was just so they could use the Mayberry set next door. I mean, it was cost saving.
This looked like the Mayberry set.
They did a nice job of that. Yeah,
it wasn't parallel development. It was a human colony that had deliberately decided to do it, though.
No, I was talking about TOS though.
Yeah.
Where we see it there. Yeah,
they were making Parnassus Beta great again.
Yeah, I had some thoughts like that.
When you brought that up, was all I could think of. The first thing my sister said to me was like, "There's not that is far too diverse to be Middle America."
Especially 20th century Mid-America. But I called the Gorn ship from the trailer of the season. In the opening trailer for this season, I saw the weird shaped ship coming through the clouds, and that's all they showed. It was a quick clip, and I was like, that's Gorn. And it's Gorn.
Yeah. So it's interesting that this is a human colony that's petitioning to join the Federation. Now, my assumption on that is that it was probably a colony that was set up before the Federation existed.
Okay. That actually is an explanation. Because I was thinking they were some kind of like pissy libertarians who
that is also
discovered
possible.
that they couldn't take care of themselves without being involved in the rest of society.
The Federation, though, has been around at this point for over 100 years.
Yeah, but humans have been out in space for longer than that.
But this colony looked relatively new.
We don't know that.
I don't know. To me, it came across to me as shiny and new and not filthy. And
well, maybe they don't have dust on that planet.
Well, they clean. I mean,
I get what you're saying. The building, everything looked like it had been built within the last 20 years or something like that. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That probably a result of just having been built.
In that case, yes. If we assume that it was created before that it was created after the Federation was founded, then the explanation would be that, yes, they decided to make their own libertarian utopia and it didn't work out so well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we don't really see evidence of that either, because it looks like a functioning society.
Yeah.
Free of technology, yet relying on technology, because they're like, oh, come and vaccinate us, please. And how did they get the subspace transmissions out there to contact the Federation?
I did not get an anti-tech vibe from that.
Yeah, no, I didn't either.
No. They had like kind of car looking things, but they looked more Trekkie and modern. They had all of the buildings looked like they had been built mid 20th century, but I didn't get the impression that they were averse to modern tech.
Yeah, I think they were using the small town model to like design the whole town, the whole place, but I don't think they were doing it in such a way that you could only live as if it's the 20th century. I think they still had the, modern amenities.
I mean, you wouldn't necessarily see that in a barbershop or a bakery, particularly after they've been destroyed by the Gorn.
Yeah.
But I do, if that was the point, I do see what you're getting at, where it's like, we're going to reject all of this, but then come vaccinate us, which goes back to my original theory, but that's a whole other thing.
I mean, if I go downtown in the little town I live in, it looks somewhat like that, because the town's been here for a couple hundred years. But I mean,
is it really clean?
It's not that clean, but it is still pretty clean. But they've got 23rd century cleaning technology.
Yeah,
they got
just use a phaser and take the
little
dust
dots.
off.
Is that what they're called? The dots?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, the dots come out at night. That's why we didn't see them.
The dots at night are big. Oh, no, sorry. No.
I was actually going to say that sounds like a horror movie.
If we were on Trek FM, the dots come out at night would be the episode title.
That is exactly what it would be.
What did you guys think of the Cayuga?
Excellent reuse of sets and models, just like TOS. Beautiful. Because I don't think we'd seen Cayuga previous.
No.
Okay.
Other than like whatever set Battelle would be in the background when she would like call.
Right, but not the ship itself outside. Yeah.
Well, I was taken out of Enterprise mode by the shot.
Yes.
So they did a good job.
Yeah, no, it didn't look, even though we know in reality it was the same set, they did a great job of hiding that fact. Yeah.
They honestly did a better job this time than they did in the season premiere with the ship that the Klingons built that looked more like the Enterprise inside.
Wasn't it the Discovery though? Didn't they use the Discovery ship?
It was a Crossfield class, but the design aesthetic was all Strange New Worlds.
I thought the design looked like, especially when they're in a sickbay, it looked like the Discovery sickbay just redressed.
Oh no, that was definitely the Enterprise sickbay.
That was the Enterprise sickbay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I promise I'm not going to argue with you on everything, Mark.
You can. I'm sure it's going to make for a lively listen. And then we'll have listeners in their car on the way to work spitting out coffee and screaming in rage.
That is the goal for every podcast, honestly.
Yeah.
Same.
Reaction. Just get a reaction, no matter what it is. Positive, negative, doesn't matter.
Yeah. They're listening. They're out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, one thing that I thought was interesting, the ensign that Battelle asks about the communications problems, Doug Appel. Appel is not a common last name, but it is like, I find it interesting, because it reminded me of the character Ed Appel from The Devil in the Dark, and I'm wondering if they're related to each other.
In my head canon, they are.
I didn't even catch that.
I was like scouring Memory Alpha to see if like maybe Ed Appel was named for somebody who worked on the show or something, but I couldn't find anything.
Appel is an unusual name.
I don't know if it's unusual, but I don't know any Appels.
No, I mean, because that's the French word for name.
Yes, it is.
So I would think there might be people. Yeah, I don't know. But again, I don't know any Appels either. So I mean, I'm just overthinking
it. That's why, like, immediately when I heard it, I'm like, I'm reminded of Kirk saying Mr. Appel in The Devil in the Dark. That's why I was.
Your memory circuits are working better than mine. I totally did not make that connection.
Did you guys think it was weird that Pike called the Gorn monsters? I mean, he's the most, I guess, he's the Boy Scout of Star Trek. And for him to just write them all off, like the whole race like that, and then also pretty much every other member of the crew is like, let's shoot him, let's kill him, you know. I just found that interesting because you might not necessarily have seen that with, you know, TNG or maybe Voyager.
No, Picard was never like that. Yeah,
Janeway might have been like, yeah, let's kill him.
Cisco would have killed him.
Okay, true story.
But yeah, I think
he would have found a weapon that only killed the Gorn and left the humans alive. And yes. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh Lord,
I think
dark.
In 2 years or so, when we get part 2, we'll probably address some of that. But also we have to realize that we can't have our main characters humanizing, which is obviously the very word is racist, but the Gorn too much, because we have to leave room for Arena.
I think there's a couple elements there. It gives Pike a bit of a miniature arc on this. You know, he goes from thinking that they're monsters to understanding that they're sentient. If we do end up finding, I mean, I know they're sentient, but, you know, someone with whom the Federation can deal. Of course, we know that 100 and some odd years in the future, the Gorn still are not friendly with the Federation. They're not actively trying to kill them, but there's not a lot of communication, if any. So, you know, there's something that has prevented them from being a major player on the galactic scene. And maybe that's a communication issue, you know. But, you know, I said in the notes here, with what we and what they know at that point, they are monsters. They don't communicate. They attack with no warning. They attack without what we would understand to be provocation. So the way we would react to it is the same way we might react to, I don't know, an alligator or a crocodile coming after us, right? And there's also the thing about, it seems like they know more about young Gorn than adult Gorn. And the young Gorn are all just seem to be working on instinct. They seem to be animalistic, okay, in a way that the other species we've run into in the entirety of Trek are not animalistic. But, and I've talked about this before, but this gives me an opportunity to again say everyone should read Carl Sagan's Demon Haunted World, because he talks about in there that the absolute innate fear of reptiles that mammals have, humans including, and because of that, there is that sense of fear, because there's some kind of instinctual memory that goes back to when we were mice trying to not get stepped on by brontosauruses, you know?
Yes, because people existed at the same time as dinosaurs from our...
No,
This is from A History with the Szilagys, Chrissie De Clerck-Szilagyi.
Okay. There is such a thing as instinctual instinct that's passed from generation to generation and evolutionarily. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to function. Mark's just laughing at me. That's fine.
I love you.
This is not okay. We're talking about, you know what? Fine. Go read Carl Sagan and then come back to me and tell me that he was saying that.
No, it was just the way that you said it. That's all.
Okay.
The way that it was said. No, I don't think that he had said that. No. I do not think that Carl Sagan was saying that they were dinosaurs. I just think the way that it was phrased made it sound that way, which I found hilarious.
Let's say, well, I did say it was an instinctual in mammals. And then I said, so Carl Sagan posited that there was an innate fear of reptiles that has existed within all of the mammalian species since they evolved. Better?
Lovely. But I was just teasing, Chrissy. Good morning.
I know you were. I know. I'm sorry. I get defensive about that because I've had to deal with it.
Yeah, so it turns out that Chrissy is actually a young Earth creationist.
Oh, gods, don't even. God, somebody's going to clip that and just use it.
I'm going to say this, and I 100% mean it, Chrissy. When I walk into a discussion and it's like you or Jason is discussing the topic, I just assume that you are the authority on it and I should listen. Because you guys know what you're talking about. This is what you do for a living. This is what you do in your lives. So I'm like, I'm going to be informed now. So anyway, thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'll pass that on to Jay, and I know he appreciates it.
Oh, I wish
our
listen to you
students
guys all the time. I love caffeinated history. But that's another podcast on BQN.
Yeah. Yes, it is. That will be more consistent once school starts again.
I mean, they're literally paying you for your wisdom. I mean, you'd think they would.
You'd think. Maybe if we went back to the old model, like in the ancient world, where you actually paid the teacher that day before you sat down with your books, there might be a little more of a concept of it. No, but you bring that up. That's one of the reasons I get defensive about the whole young Earth creationism thing, because I inevitably once a semester, if I teach the first half of world history or Western Civ, I run headlong into that with at least one student. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
I don't teach theology. That's how I handle it. That's how I tell them, you know. And it's one lesson. It's like history. I started just like, okay, here's a brief thing about hominid evolution and how we got here. And then we're going to start talking about actual written history, because history as it is not archaeology. They inform each other, but history has to have text. And so we're talking about, half a lesson on the first day of class. And, anyway.
Well, I have trouble talking about hominid evolution because I can't say Homo erectus with a straight face.
Yep.
Can you say it with a gay one?
Oh, yes.
Anyway.
I think that's the only way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, right. So back to, as I was saying, I think it is reasonable that Pike feels like the Gorn are monsters. It also reminds me of the motion picture when Kirk is trying to get Bones to understand why he pulled him out of retirement. He's like, there's this thing out there and we don't know what it's going to do. And
why is it something we don't understand? It's always called a thing.
Right. And Kirk in that moment is saying essentially like, well, there's this technological monster, and Bones is correcting him. And April tries to do that, but Pike won't have it.
Yep.
He's like, no.
Well, I like the fact that they do have an instance here of the Gorn. This is their first official hail to the Federation.
Mm-hmm.
And they've proven that they are a species that are highly intelligent. They've created these advanced warp ships that are highly maneuverable. They have a written language, and this is their first hail. They did not verbalize the hail. I don't know if they're nonverbal or not. I think that they do have a language that is verbal. I just don't think that they've really dove into that yet. But
we know that from Arena with the
but sending that image of just the line in the sand, it's like a very easy way to communicate. It's the most basic way to communicate, really, is through pictographs. So they sent a picture, an image, to the Federation, like, no, this, you stay on that side, we stay on this side. And I thought that was very clever. I like that they did that.
So interestingly, we see the Gorn, we see a symbol for the Gorn hegemony in this episode. And this is the second time that image has appeared in Star Trek canon. The first time was in Prodigy.
Huh. Nice. But they don't talk to each other. Nobody knows what's going on in all the other shows.
Clearly.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, and so they talk about this, and it's in that conference. And again, like you were saying, Mark, they're just like, okay, how are we going to kill him?
Yeah.
But again, context, I get it.
And we also have to realize that it's not like they're exploring strange new worlds. They come to a planet filled with Gorn and decide, let's kill them all.
Oh, yeah. They've been attacked.
Yeah. So it's like, yes, perhaps we should try to understand a little more. And I think we definitely will. I think in the second episode, we're going to get the whole thing where they talked about how this all started with the coronal mass ejection. That's going to turn into something. We're going to find out more about that in a few years. But from Pike's point of view, the Gorn just attacked and slaughtered a colony. So he's looking to get the Gorn out of here.
So they have learned at this point that the Gorn, their bodies have, I don't know, like a protective tissue or barrier. It's a natural born, maybe immunity to the phaser fire. So they've had to, develop, maybe it was Section 31, had to develop this new weaponry. And this is the first time we're seeing it in Trek. And I think that's really cool. It shows that, this stuff happening in the background, right? So like the first episode, they sort of casually mention at the end of the episode, and then this is our first time seeing it, but we know this whole season in the background, the Federation has sort of been preparing for this engagement. So that was cool.
Yeah.
It's like when Shelby shows up in Best of Both Worlds, and you're like, oh, they did pay attention to something that happened. And there's a Borg task force. So there's a Gorn task force.
There's a Gorn task force.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch. And I mean, because we see all the way back to the first episode or second episode of this season, I think it was. Can't remember now. But we saw that, I think it was the first episode. We saw that screen on April's computer showing the ship. There's a probable Gorn attack ship or whatever. So Starfleet has been preparing for this.
The talk about the old zombie movie trick.
Love that.
And Spock was like, zombie movie trick.
You've never seen one? A movie? Yes. A zombie? No.
Cool. Yeah. The more they lean into like Spock's cluelessness of like human culture, the more sort of Nimoy-esque he seems. I really appreciate that. It's very, very TOS with those jokes.
Yeah. And I think that's very, very intentional. So,
yeah, and I will say I saw someone on Twitter. Actually, I think it might have been Dave Blass of Star Trek Picard production, tweeted out saying that we're seeing Spock be more of the Spock that we know, and he said that's probably a reaction to the fact that he was dumped twice this season.
Mm-hmm.
So he's withdrawing from his emotions, and who wouldn't?
He says as much.
Mhm.
I mean, just going back to last week, he goes from having an emotional reaction to the relationship with Christine ending to figuring out a mathematical equation to explain it.
Mhm.
You know, and it's just you can see it in him, which is just such a testament to Peck's acting. You know, because it's like by the end of that episode, you see that he's gone more Nimoy style Spock,
Mhm.
and it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, in universe, we have to remember he's got Boimler who told him that that's going to happen at some point anyway.
I don't think Boimler told Spock that.
Well,
Told
remember,
Chapel.
yeah, he told Chapel, and Chapel told Spock, and then
Did
and then
Chapel tell
Spock was, yeah, because then Spock was asking Boimler about it.
Let's all just be grateful that Spock is no longer giving the creepy smile.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
That can induce nightmares.
that
And
was
Ethan Peck is
definitely
a handsome
overdone,
man.
but yeah.
But that is a creepy smile.
That was a very creepy smile. I am very glad
Yes.
that Ethan Peck does not smile like that in real life.
Yeah, that was
Amen.
intentionally creepy, and it was well
He has
done
a beautiful smile.
because it was.
You know who doesn't smile? Zachary Quinto.
Zachary
I
Quinto
noticed
is
that in
very
the pictures we
Spock-like.
saw.
Like, I mean, like, for real. Like, I'm not just saying Zachary Quinto Spock doesn't smile.
Yeah.
I mean, Zachary Quinto the man doesn't smile. Like, if you look at the photo ops from STOV this year, his
Yeah.
smile is sort of like this. This is Zachary Quinto smiling.
So, listeners, that is not smiling. He sort of has this weird perplexed look on his face,
Mhm.
like he doesn't know what that smell is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was that look.
Which I just find fascinating.
Mhm.
Although he did make a humorous face for that meme that's floating around where they recreated
I
the
love
girl
that
seeing the
so much.
handsome new guy.
The person that came up with that,
The girl.
I'm astonished. Yeah,
That's her idea.
yeah. I'm
Her
astonished
name
that
is
nobody
Stephanie.
came up with it before,
Mhm.
and also I love that she thought of it. I mean, it was just like it seemed an obvious thing once I saw it, but it hadn't occurred to me.
I'm so mad at myself for not doing it because I had that photo op.
Oh, nice.
I had it probably before her. Like I was really early in line, and I could have done that and didn't. And so I've been kicking myself in the pants.
They are going to end up having to do that at every convention they're at together for the rest of their lives.
It's so good.
Now imagine
But that's
someone.
all right.
Now imagine someone trying to convince Shatner to play along with that in a photo with Paul Wesley.
Pine, I think, would. Shatner wouldn't. No. But
Yeah,
Pine,
no.
I think would.
If it was Pine and Wesley, yeah, they absolutely would. But Shatner,
They should do the reverse for that and have the Paul Wesley be the old one and then Shatner be the new one because honestly, no one wants to stay with Paul Wesley. Sorry.
Oh,
Well, I like Paul Wesley.
I mean, he's growing on me like moss. It's very slow, like a fungus.
I mean, he's got that jawline though. I mean,
Oh, no,
okay.
no.
I had to get past he looks like Jim Carrey, and I have gotten past that, and now it's fine.
Jim Carrey would have been better.
You know, given given the amount of dramatic work he's done, he might have been okay.
So the destroyed colony city, I guess it was destroyed. I didn't really see anything destroyed. All the buildings were still there. They just threw blood on it.
And broken
There's
windows.
a lot of blood. Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of blood.
And like the was it the barber shop? One of them is boarded up, actually. So there was enough time somewhere in there for them to board up the window.
It was the Gorn. They're like, oh, there's glass everywhere. We should board this up. So the little Gorn children came over with hammers and they put it up. Warning, there's glass here. Oops.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, those Gorn kids.
Mhm.
So, someone on Twitter talked about how the Federation is provoking the Gorn here by killing unarmed children, and that's a gross oversimplification.
They're armed. They're
Well,
born armed.
They're teethed, for sure.
And I think they're armed too, and footed.
And,
I think they're one step away from having the little tapping velociraptor claw.
Yeah, and since we know it's the children that reproduce, which is, an interesting part of biology.
Well, tribbles too. The tribbles are born pregnant.
It's not that the children reproduce; it's that they reproduce and then they go to the next point in their lives where they are not capable of reproducing.
Yeah,
at least as I understand it. So they're all postmenopausal, is what it is. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's the switch flip, and I mean that with utter seriousness. That the evolutionary drive to propagate the species overwhelms everything else, and then once you have performed that role, then you can become sentient and build starships.
Okay, works for my headcanon.
Yeah, no, okay.
I mean, I just came up with that right now, but that at least explains it.
It does, actually. Yeah, because obviously hormonal drives are serious things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think how many human teenagers are going to be able to, build a spaceship? So
I like as they see the Gorn behaving differently, Pike starts coming to that understanding.
Yes.
That they are capable of more than just sort of killing each other, and they are not just like a mono species kind of a thing. Like there's nuance, and so that was good. I'm glad we got to that point, because for me that's one of the appeal of Strange New Worlds is it's back to that sort of positive intent, sort of Boy Scout. We're not going to attack first. We're going to try to understand this other, civilization. So that's why, like I said, at the beginning, it was a little jarring that they were all like, "Oh, just kill them." And now Pike's like, "Okay, like, yeah, these actually, this is a species that has some intelligence."
Mm-hmm.
That's that arc. But, think about it too. When he's talking to April, it's right after he's found out about this. He doesn't know, but kind of assumes that his girlfriend, the captain of the ship, is dead. So maybe, that the Gorn are monsters is not really what he's feeling and thinking. It is reactionary to events more than anything else. And La'an's just, she wants him dead because they killed everybody. That's that. I don't think that is ever going to change. If that changes, then that is going to be a fantastic piece of story work. It's going to be akin to Miles O'Brien going and working on Cardassia kind of shift. And I think that'll be great if we see it. But yeah, I like that Pike was like, oh, maybe we do know less about them than we think.
One thing that I don't hear a lot of online is, you have people that, and I'm eye rolling right now at the Daddy Pike, because poor Anson Mount keeps having to deal with that, and people bring it up at the conventions like, oh, it's hey Daddy Pike, whatever. Oh, so eye roll. But Robert April's kind of a daddy too, so why isn't the Daddy April thing going around? Why isn't that a thing? He's kind of a snack. Anyway, just saying.
No, he's definitely good looking. I don't know.
He is, but I mean, Anson Mount. Yeah. Anyone next to Anson Mount is not going to compare.
Your interest, I don't know.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I would say personally.
But I will, in all seriousness, Anson's got it quite a bit. So if any listener out there, and you guys have a lot of listeners, if there's any listener out there that is even thinking about referring to Anson Mount in person as Daddy, please don't.
Good God, no.
Do not do that.
That was the... honestly, that was the most cringe moment at STOV, even more than the crap that went down at the Voyager panel, was the guy that came up and said, I have a question for Daddy Pike. I mean, Anson. Yeah, that was the most cringe moment.
But at least Anson just didn't even dignify it.
Yeah.
He went off on a whole other, he didn't even answer the question really. Nope. He went off on his whole other, I'm going to answer this other question here thing, which is good. It was very dignified. But please stop with that.
Yeah. Even if it wasn't a thing that people were doing and it was obviously bothersome, just don't do that. I mean, like in the future, if you think that about other people, don't do that.
Yeah. It's just creepy.
No.
Like, the time and place for that sort of thing is very limited.
This was sort of an aha, wow, I'm shocked moment in this episode. Scotty? And he was on screen for less time than we've seen Paul Wesley, and I already accept him as Scotty. I'm like, that's Scotty. There he is. I knew it was before he even said his name. I was like, oh, that's gotta be Scotty. That is Scotty.
The guy starts talking with the Scottish accent. I'm like, oh shit, it's Scotty.
But no one else
wasn't just
in
that, it was
the Federation has a Scottish accent. That's it.
the mannerisms, like the technical know-how, just the ingenuity, like the whole package, like the looks, the hair pulled over. It was Scotty, believably, from his first, lines of dialogue in a way that, Paul Wesley just has not shown up for yet. Sorry.
He was even carrying himself like Jimmy Doohan. Like when he has that armful of equipment, it's almost the same as when Jimmy Doohan has the armful of tribbles.
Well,
like the way he's holding himself.
Although in that scene, you can see his middle finger on his right hand. Yeah. So, you have to question his commitment to the part by not chopping off his finger.
Well,
I'm sure he watched it while fighting Nazis.
In some shots,
you mentioned
he
that.
can be seen hiding his middle finger.
Yeah, just like they did with because famously that scene with the tribbles is one of the few scenes in TOS where you can see his middle finger or lack thereof.
If the listeners are confused, throughout TOS in the original series, Mr. Doohan used to hide the fact that he had lost a middle finger, and he lost it in World War II.
Storming the beaches of Normandy.
At Normandy, on one of the beaches that was assigned to the British, one of the Canadian beaches, and I don't remember which one, but it would have been Gold, Juno, or Sword. One of those.
Talks about it in his autobiography, which I read several years ago and very much enjoyed. And he talks about how that beach was actually had higher casualties than any of the American beaches.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's lucky to have lost only the finger. And James Doohan, original Antifa.
Yes. And DeForest Kelley and
so many of them.
Roddenberry himself, of course.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Anyway, I will say Martin Quinn, the new Scotty, there's a image going around showing him next to Jimmy Doohan in his 20s. And they look so much alike.
That's good to know. I haven't seen that. Cool.
Obviously, two images next to each other. Martin Quinn obviously is far too young to have known James Doohan in his 20s. Just putting that out there.
No doubt.
You mean that they didn't slingshot around the sun to find him in real life, and then.
But yeah, no, perfect. I love the characterization of Scotty here. And he's actually Scottish, too, which is cool.
You're kidding me.
I am not.
I already loved him enough, and now I find myself loving him more. Stop it, Thad. You just stop it.
But I have to bring up what former host Brandon said, is asked if he should be insulted, if Canadians should be insulted that Scotty's no longer Canadian, which I thought was funny.
I mean, almost all the background actors are Canadian because they film in Canada, so he's good. He's still got Canadian representation.
Yeah, it was just funny. So
I had been talking with, I don't know if it was on All Good Things, it might have been, but I had brought up the fact that if they do the replacing the engineer every season, and if we eventually get to the point of Scotty, I was hoping that he would have been a student of Pelia's, and that Pelia would be the mentor. I had brought that up a while back. And then when they said that, and that the way she phrased it, of my best student
who got my worst grades.
Yes. Oh, I died. It was great. What great dialogue. What a great story arc. It made sense because he has his own way of thinking and doing things that's different from, I guess
everyone.
The way that definitely spoke to me because I have multiple teachers who would have described me that way.
There's a little Montgomery Scott in you too, Thad.
And also when they're at the conference table and she says to number one, if you'd answered like that in class, I would have given you an A+.
That was amazing. I loved that.
She just, I loved her before, but her teacheriness just, makes me love her even more.
And I love that she's the first person to call Scotty Scotty.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. I wonder if she gave him that nickname. I mean, it's an obvious
too.
nickname.
It's possible he already had it, but yeah.
I was yelling it at my screen, so that's why I didn't hear if anybody else said it. I just kept saying Scotty and pointing like that Leo DiCaprio meme.
Yep.
Yeah, I gotta say the first time I watched this episode, the screener dropped while I was at STLV. So I watched this in a hotel room with some friends on an iPad, and the moment that scene came out, we all were like, "It's Scotty!"
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like what happened when they did the last time on Star Trek and they showed the images from, or they showed the scenes from the cage for the Discovery episode. Good. I was like, yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. He was on this solar research vessel in the Shanghai system. And I'm not sure if I spelled that correctly in the notes, but the first thing I thought it was Shendai, and I'm like, there's our Vanguard connection.
You mean
Shedai, excuse me. Yes. I still thought it was the Vanguard connection, and I'm like, then it wasn't.
I am still crossing my fingers for the Vanguard series that we're probably never going to get.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's okay. But
there we go, Mark. There's our book reference.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I also love that he says lieutenant instead of lieutenant.
Yes.
Well, it is sort of interesting now, the amount of original series, I guess, characters that had all come in contact with the Gorn. Doesn't it seem like Kirk was the only one that hadn't come in contact with the Gorn at the time of Arena at this point?
Possibly Bones, but yeah.
And people that just scream, "It's not canon, it's not canon." Like, initially, like when they started bending canon a little bit here and there, I was a little like side eye, especially, Discovery, I was a little bit more than side eye. I was a little bit on the angry side, but but here at this point, especially with how much now I love Strange New Worlds, I'm literally like a scorched earth right now. Screw it. Rewrite canon. I don't know. Whatever. It's so good. I don't care. Just do whatever you want. Strange New Worlds. I'm sorry. It's so good.
It's great.
Yeah.
Strange New Worlds has so Lower Decks is still my favorite of the new shows, but Strange New Worlds is definitely way up there for me now. This season, I think, obviously recency bias is a thing, but I think this season of Strange New Worlds is my favorite season of live action new Star Trek.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and this is, and you've seen Picard season 3.
I like Picard season 3, but I think this season's even better. And I think the Nielsen ratings back me up on that. They're like behind several weeks, but 3 of the first 5 episodes made the top 10 in the Nielsen's, whereas only 1 of the first 5 episodes of Picard season 3 did. Picard season 3 got 3 total for all 10 episodes. I will be shocked if Strange New Worlds doesn't get at least 2 more, probably more.
Yeah.
Because there's no way Those Old Scientists and Subspace Rhapsody don't make the top 10.
Well, I've said this before on other podcasts, but the 2 programs are they're not made to be the same thing. Yeah, and even Picard season 3 isn't made to be an extension of TNG. It's not. It just isn't.
No.
It's its own entity. Mm-hmm. It's a 10 episode miniseries, I guess.
Yeah, basically,
film. It's the final outing of that crew, but it's a different type of storytelling for different reasons. And I love it on a whole other level.
Yeah. I absolutely love it. You'd be hard pressed to find a Star Trek show I don't love. But I I mean, when we talked about Picard season 3, I was gushing with praise almost every episode. And that's still true, but I think I liked Strange New Worlds touches my heart in a way that Picard didn't.
And for the record here, and I always have to throw this out here because I don't want any listeners to think that I don't love Discovery, because I do love it. Love it, love it, love it. I have favorite episodes every single season where I'm like, oh, this episode just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like, really? And so, yeah, I just want our listeners to know that I might critique it here and there on my pods, but I'm a huge fan, and I've met some of the actors, and they're amazing, wonderful people, and they are a gift to the franchise. Okay, I'm done.
No, absolutely.
Thoughtful criticism is not a bad thing.
Yeah. We criticize everything on this show, but we also love it all because we're Star Trek fans.
Lower Decks.
I'm so excited for Lower Decks season 4. Oh my god, can't wait.
I love Lower Decks. Like you said, I think Lower Decks is the favorite of all of the new stuff. And I think part of the reason for that is that I can relax watching it. Not that I can't relax watching the other ones, but they have been heavy, and not that Trek wasn't heavy, but it's different now. It's heavier than it used to be on a regular basis. And Lower Decks is just like, oh, that's fun.
I will say this about Lower Decks, because you mentioned that you relax to it. I can't.
Okay.
With Lower Decks.
Too fast paced.
It's too bombastic. So at the end of the night, when I'm winding down and I want to put on Trek, like I'll put on TAS or TOS, or I even put on. There's a specific one episode of TNG that is my go-to, and that's the Royale.
I love the Royale
more times than any human, probably.
Maybe needs a new pair of
episode.
Shoes.
Yep.
But it's there's not a lot of loud sounds, or you know what I mean? It's kind of sleepy.
I'm finding it interesting that you say that about TAS, because I feel like if I'm watching TAS to fall asleep, I get jolted awake every time the music goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was perfect. Oh my god. That was perfect. Oh, I love that music. I use that music for everything.
I love all 3 minutes of the TAS soundtrack, because that's pretty much all it is, and they just repeat the same song over and over again.
So good.
Yep. That's funny though, because like I think of relax as like it's I'm not going to think too hard. I don't even think about the fact that they're running around, like the opening few minutes of the series where she's hitting him with a batleth, so
I put on the like weird episodes from like late TNG. Like, believe it or not, one of my comfort episodes of Star Trek is watching Genesis, which is absolutely not, a calm, relaxing episode. But I love it.
Not at all, but I don't like to watch Genesis before I go to bed though, because I get Spider Barkley nightmares.
Oh Lord. That was a Jonathan Frakes?
That was Gates McFadden.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Gates. That was her only. Wasn't it her only one? Yeah. Oh, it was very well directed, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why she's barely in it. She's there to have Worf spit acid on her, and that's about it.
Yep. And at the very beginning.
Yep, and at the very end, when she's explaining the technobabble of how it happened.
Yep. Barclay protomorphosis syndrome.
Well, in this episode,
yes,
but Batel is not happy that Pike has come to save her. And at first, I'm like, what's her deal? Why wouldn't he come? She knows he's a Boy Scout. But then after, when they have the reveal of her arm and she's been impregnated by the Gorn eggs, it's like, oh, because she doesn't want him to come near her because she's afraid that he will get infected too. So it all came full circle.
So I feel like they don't ever specifically say this one way or the other, but I got the impression that she didn't send the distress call. That was the Gorn doing what they did in Arena.
I didn't think about that. Maybe.
Oh, Thad. Yeah, that's good.
Of course, it could have been somebody on the colony ship too, or the colony planet.
Well, no, because it was Batel's voice identifying herself as Batel.
Oh, duh, that's right.
But we know that communication was completely cut off. So how did she send that message if it was her?
It had to have been the Gorn.
That's why I think it was the Gorn. And we know that the Gorn have already done that. Well, we'll do that in the future.
They will have had a history of doing that.
Yes.
I did have a little issue with this episode, and it was the entire plot of Spock can be the only one to put the rockets on there.
Okay, I wanted to talk about that. Yes.
Nah.
Someone explained to me how no human could do what he did, because it sure looked like he did something we've seen humans do on Star Trek many times.
Yeah.
Many times.
And if it requires robotic precision, a dot needed to do it. You know? It's like, no, that was very self-important of him.
That was there so that he could be there when Chapel came out.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't need to say that. He could have just been like, I will do it. And they're like, okay. You know, it didn't need to be like, I am the only one.
Yeah.
He could have said, this will be dangerous, so I volunteer.
Yeah. Because, like, all he was doing was just, like, flying through space and walking around on the hull, and we've seen humans do that before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the only part. And like I said, I just blame the writing as far as that one. Sure. And the writers for this show are fantastic, but not everybody's perfect all of the time. So I give them some grace. I will forgive, but it's just not, wasn't good.
You know what, though? He is trying to, in the context of everything that's happened to him, he is trying to differentiate himself and emphasize his Vulcanness. So maybe him saying particularly no human can do this. It's, you know what that is? That's the opposite of the end of charades. It's personal. It has nothing to do with who can do it. It's him saying that he's not human.
Yeah.
Yeah. It still is self-important, but I think that's behind it now that we're talking about it.
Oh, so this is another place where they showed intelligence for the Gorn, where the Gorn is actually accessing one of the control panels on the ship, trying to do something.
Yeah.
And maybe that is where they sent the distress call. Maybe it was from that ship.
Oh, that could be.
So that was cool. And of course, Chapel thinks that, you know, it's somebody there to rescue her, but then she sees the tail and it's like,
yeah, that was a good scene.
Yeah.
Like
that was really good.
That's why they have tail. That's why they have a tail, because it, you know, it was important for the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we also see the tail first when it comes up behind Spock.
Yeah. She's got some serious plot armor.
Okay, now I'm realizing maybe we shouldn't say it when talking about the Gorn, because it's a person. We should say they.
Oh, that's a point. Yeah.
Yeah. It is a person. They are a person?
There we go.
There you go.
Sorry for the Gorn I've offended on the podcast.
Yeah, if you're a Gorn listening, I apologize. Please don't eat us.
Yes. But also please contact us so we can talk to you, because we have questions.
But use a universal translator.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we don't know about Gorn sexuality, much less Gorn gender identities.
Well, I think we've just do the Gorn even have gender?
Oh Lord.
Because
I mean, gender, that would be a social construct on top of whatever.
Yeah, so we certainly don't know that, but do the Gorn even have sex?
Well, reptiles have the ability, some of them, to alternate, where they could be
I have also seen Jurassic Park.
I was about to say they use frog DNA. Yes.
Well, that's an amphibian, but yes.
True. Well, that's what was in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Listeners knew when I was coming on it was going to be a weird one.
But
that's all right. So
I'm wondering now, because it's possible that they do not have separate sexes. They may just all be one type of Gorn. especially given their rather unique breeding behavior.
Well, I will say that, according to Lower Decks, the Gorn do have two sexes, at least.
Well, they have two. Well, just because
they have weddings with two people.
They have weddings with two people. That doesn't mean they have two sexes.
Well, and one of them was in a dress.
And that means absolutely nothing.
But that still doesn't necessarily mean they have two sexes.
That's true. We've gone down the Gorn hole.
Yeah.
Gorn wedding. Now I want to rewatch that episode.
Yeah. That was the midweek event in the Lower Decks mobile game, was a Gorn wedding.
Nice. Of course.
Yeah, it was great.
Man, I really need to check out that mobile game, especially because you talk about it every week.
It sucked me in. It's just so, yeah. Anyway, I mostly have been talking about it because they did the great thing with Strange New Worlds and adding it in, but I have mentioned it before. So
what is your prediction on Scotty? Now, we have seen him. He is there. Now he's beamed onto the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's going to be one of those things where, like what they did with Pelia, where she just kind of camps out there and that's her new place?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope Pelia stays around.
Yeah, because there is
at least another season.
There's nothing in established canon that implies that Scotty wasn't already on the ship.
Yeah.
So he could join the Enterprise and stay there for the duration.
And work his way up the ladder, as it were. Yeah.
Because he is there and where no man has gone before, so...
I'm thinking about Captain Planet right now for some reason, and it's like all the little planeteers, they come together with the rings and they form Captain Planet, like Earth, Fire, Wind, Water. Yes. And it's like all of our original TOS crew is like assembling the Enterprise.
Starfleet officers assemble.
Yes.
Think we'll see Bones next season?
Oh, I hope so. Love him.
A lot of this has to do with how they're planning on, if they've planned this out and they really intend to do, like 7 seasons or 6 seasons, however many years until Pike's injury, and end it there. Or are they just going to keep it going, and then whenever they get to the point where the show's going to be over, they'll say, oh, it's been that long,
Yeah. I actually wouldn't hate that. When the show started, I would have said I don't want this, but I wouldn't hate if at some point they pass the torch and it becomes TOS.
Same. At this point, same.
Like, okay, but then end Strange New Worlds and call it, call it Star Trek. What the hell? Phase 2.
Oh my lord. That's not a bad idea.
No, I'm half serious.
It'll be Star Trek Phase 0.5.
Yes, there you go.
Phase 1.
But 0.5.
Oh, no, that's TOS. Phase 1 is TOS.
Yeah. But
or they could just call it the Star Trek Those Old Scientists. That would be cool too.
God. I know I've brought this up before, and I don't know who came up with it, but the thing that was going around Twitter about how the series should end with, our 3 main from Strange New Worlds going into the turbo lift, and then the 3 of them coming out in a scene from TOS, and that's the end of the show, and then it continues.
I love that too, but I also would not mind if we get Paul Wesley Kirk episodes in the future.
No, well, I would not object to that.
I hope it continues, just a natural continuation. The show keeps going for many, many, many years. If that includes Pike at some point departing, which would stink, but it has to happen according to canon. I will, Wesley hopefully will continue to grow on me like a fungus. And it's like when I watch Enterprise. I love Scott Bakula. Seriously love him. I was a Quantum Leap nerd as a kid.
Oh boy.
I've loved him in so many things. I hate him in Enterprise. I think he's literally the worst in Enterprise. He's so wooden. But I still watch Enterprise and enjoy Enterprise, and I just sort of put aside my disdain for his character. What was his character name?
Archer?
Captain Archer.
Archer.
Yeah. I'm just like,
You put aside your disdain for the main character. Okay.
yeah, because everybody else is so good.
No, I got you.
It's a good show.
He's not wrong.
I don't find Bakula to be. I don't think he was the best person to be cast there by any means, but it is what it is. Well, no, it's better than it is what it is. I think he does a decent.
I still love Enterprise.
Same.
But Archer is not that great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
listeners,
this is
send your hate mail to me complaining about a 20-year-old TV show too.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not a critique of Scott, because Scott's amazing.
Yeah.
He really is. And I'd love to see him in Strange New Worlds if they bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
I would be
that
very
would be
enthused.
amazing.
Yeah. Well, you guys were talking about this just now. I came up with the better ending for Strange New Worlds.
Okay.
The last episode is the menagerie from Pike's point of view.
Oh. Very cool.
Oh, that's
yeah.
interesting.
Mm-hmm. Aaron Watkey, I know you listen to us, so tell the people over at Strange New Worlds who need to know that, and then
Oh, Aaron, what a sweetheart!
Give me story idea credit.
Thad and I both got to chat it up with him at STLV.
Oh,
what a
so
nice guy, funny, just really, yeah, just very smart.
Yeah,
knows his stuff,
and very just friendly and approachable. Will talk your ear off about Star Trek any day of the week, and that's just awesome.
Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Thanks, Aaron.
Also, Akiva Goldsman, if you're listening, you can, feel free to take that idea. We don't even need credit.
Yeah, no. If I saw that, I would not be mad that I was not credited, because I'm sure I'm not the only person who's thought of that.
Yeah.
But it just popped in my head right now. And you know what? You could still do the thing with the three of them going into the turbo lift and the TOS coming out. You could do both in the same episode.
I will say, if they bring back Scott Bakula as Archer, I do want to be credited. Thanks. I just want my name. Credit. Thanks. Thanks, Mark White, for this idea. You're welcome.
I still kind of want like a Romulan War miniseries or something.
Yeah. That would be good. Do it animated, and that way it doesn't matter how old they are.
Perfect.
Yeah. So Chapel's plot armor. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
We don't know how much of the Cayuga's staff was on the planet, so I guess a lot of them could have survived.
And we don't technically know she's the only living one on the Cayuga, although she certainly is after it crashes into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But it is possible that life pods went out and hit the planet and are elsewhere, so yeah.
I think there were some other people alive there that might have been injured or incapacitated. There might have been some other looking around and trying to get off the ship, but she didn't bump into anybody. Had she would have helped them escape as well.
Yeah. But if there were any still alive on that saucer section, they are not alive anymore.
My head can't. Well, no, that wouldn't work. I was just about to say, as soon as I got the transporters back, they would have checked. But
it was too late at that point.
Too late. Yeah. Well, there were other pieces of the ship, so we'll say that there were people in the star drive section.
So yeah, plot armor is certainly a big thing this episode, and I will say it. Let's jump to the cliffhanger for a minute here.
Yeah.
It certainly lessens the tension of the cliffhanger when we know that Mbenga and Sam Kirk can't die. Which leads us to another thing. We have two main characters there who can. La'an and Ortegas are not safe. And I'm going to shout out to Caleb Dorsch for putting this idea in my head, and I hate it. I think Ortegas is not going to make it.
I want the I've said this since the beginning of Strange New Worlds, because of all of the people that we know survive. It definitely lessens the stakes every single episode, because we know, they have to survive. So I think that the show could serve itself better putting those other newer characters in harm's way more often. letting them survive, but they don't necessarily have to. So I think it would raise the stakes for each episode. They don't have to always be in harm's way, but I think they should be and could be in harm's way a little more often to raise the stakes.
Yeah, I agree. And specifically the reason why I'm saying that I think Ortegas may not make it out of this is, okay, so yeah, again, we know Mbenga and Sam Kirk can't die. Sam Kirk has another death waiting for him in the future, and Mbenga, we don't know when he dies. And they've put a ton of character development into La'an this season. I think they want to continue exploring that. I don't think they're going to kill her off. On the other hand, we have very little character development on Ortegas. We know that she flies the ship and that she can sometimes be a little racist, and that's about it.
So you're thinking we're going to get Sulu next?
Possible. Although Sulu was not at the helm in Where No Man Has Gone Before. He was a scientist.
Well, it doesn't mean. Well, I mean, yeah, he was.
But he could be moving around.
Yeah. I mean, Geordi started out at the helm, so
right. Well, it'll be if they bring in Sulu to replace Ortegas, they will put him at the helm and then have him move to astrophysics and then back to the helm.
Well, it's maybe a little bit here and there. I mean, it's. I mean, think about like Spock is the first officer and the science officer and half a dozen other things, whatever he's needed to be. So
we could have Sulu, but regardless, I do not. I mean, I don't want Ortegas to die. I love the character. I love Melissa Navia.
She's great,
and I hope she doesn't die. I just think there's a good chance she will.
I don't disagree, but I'm not. I don't know. I don't want it to happen, so I'm gonna pretend it's not gonna. Let's just pretend it's not gonna, like it's set in stone.
I don't think they're gonna send her out the Arium route. This is a different show.
Well, we already know more about her than we did about Arium.
Lord.
Either way, we're not gonna find out for like 2 years. So
yeah. Did they get anything filmed before the strike started?
No.
Yeah.
It was supposed to start filming a week after the WGA strikes hit.
That's okay. Yeah.
Well, they bumped it to the fall, and they're probably gonna have to bump it again.
Well, yeah.
Unless they come through the contract negotiations tomorrow.
Right.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah. No, my understanding is some of it has been written, none of it has been filmed, and we're not going to get any more production until both strikes are over.
Yeah. And any other ones that happen.
Yeah.
The more I learn about the writer's strike, the actor's strike, the more I learn about what they're asking for, it's just like, wow. The perception we have of viewers and of people sitting at home is just not what was taking place. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, Michelle Hurd, she had come out and said like that, she will go and do these, episodes of these franchises, and people are like, oh, she's working, she's hustling, but she still can't afford health insurance. She still has to like get her own insurance because the guild won't provide it because she doesn't make that threshold, right?
Yeah.
And that is the case for 80% of all of the actors.
Well, I mean, this is why health insurance shouldn't be tied to employment, but that's a whole other conversation.
That's true.
Can't say that. Come on, that's un-American.
But the fact that a lot of them don't make that much money, like, it's sad because we binge episodes that they're acting in, and that are written by these people, these really talented writers. They're not getting any kind of a residual. So
yeah,
I don't know. On my end, definitely support both strikes.
Absolutely.
And I hope that at the end of the day, what David can defeat Goliath. There we go.
Yeah. Yep. And in the meantime, Disney Plus and Hulu have increased their prices because, if you pay the workers more, you have to charge more, even though they're making billions upon billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they're making behind the scenes cuts as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I saw that Disney Plus is going to be doing the Netflix locking down the accounts and preventing you from sharing it thing too.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we're all on the same page that this was a fantastic episode.
Mhm.
Yes.
It is a little sad we got to wait a while, but this is reminiscent of Best of Both Worlds when we had to wait all summer to find out what happened to Picard.
That was just a summer, though.
That was that's gonna be the
true.
joke now. You know, I had to wait 3 months for Best of Both Worlds.
Well, Discovery, when did Discovery end? In the last episode of Discovery air?
Yeah, but that wasn't a proper cliffhanger.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, no, it's been a bit since Discovery. It's been when we get Discovery season 5, it will have been 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
If not more.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, that's done. So that's
Yeah, it's done. It's I'm sure it's still coming early next year. But yeah, that at least wasn't a cliffhanger. Strange New Worlds, it's a cliffhanger. We're not going to get a resolution anytime soon. I think it is extremely unlikely it'll be next year. Most likely 2025, possibly later, depending on what happens with the strikes.
Yeah.
I think Infinite Diversity should continue on covering Strange New Worlds each week and just you guys come up with plots and we can act them out. And I think that is a way to just keep it going.
I mean, if we have extremely long gaps without new Star Trek, we will find other things to come onto the podcast and talk about.
For sure.
But as I suggested earlier, I would not be surprised if we get 2 seasons of Lower Decks next year. Also, Prodigy is coming. The impression that I've been getting is that it is they can't talk about it yet because it's not officially finalized, but the impression I'm getting is that everything is all but completed and finalized as far as the deal with whoever it is that's going to be broadcasting it. So
you guys can still support Prodigy by buying those Blu-rays, buying the digital downloads. The digital downloads now on iTunes include both parts of season 1.
Finally,
so
yes.
You get 20 episodes with the download. It's not very expensive at all.
No, it's not.
All good things. All of us are going to be purchasing the Blu-rays and the downloads so we can continue to talk about the show. Yeah.
I've got the Blu-ray set for the second half pre-ordered. I've had the first half since it first came out, and once I get the second half, I'm gonna do a proper binge of the whole season again, I think.
Yeah. That the Enterprisians episode. I don't remember what the title of that was, but I just so much love for that episode. It was incredible.
Did you see the group of people that were cosplaying Enterprisians at STLV?
I saw the pictures of them.
Good.
Oh, that's so cool. That was good.
Yeah, that second half of season 1 was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some good episodes in the first half too, but that second half, oh man. Thank you, Aaron Welke.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so Strange New Worlds, Hegemony. Any other big thoughts that we haven't covered?
I don't think so.
I reiterating the Easter eggs were fun in this. Seeing Scotty was amazing. I was hoping that they wouldn't do a lot of 2-parters with Strange New Worlds because I like that it's episodic. But at least if they're gonna do it, they made it a real banger, and it's gonna be great when we get part 1 and 2 and can watch it like a film. I'm really excited for that. They did it again with just another really solid season in general. So yeah, thanks to the cast, crew, writers, production team, all around. Hats off. Great job, guys.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. I have loved every minute of the season, and I just yell at the studio to pay your actors and writers what they deserve so that we can get more of this.
And so that you, the studio, can make more money off of it, because
That too.
what do you think is going to happen if you don't? I do not understand this, but that's a whole other. I don't understand the mindset, but that's all right.
Anyway, we may be done talking about Strange New Worlds for a couple years, but thankfully, Infinite Diversity is not going anywhere. We're getting Lower Decks in a few weeks. And you can also, if you get homesick and want to listen to Strange New Worlds, we've got 20 episodes in the can where you can listen to us previously talking about Strange New Worlds.
And we cover it on All Good Things as well.
Yes. Also, All Good Things talks
definitely
about it as well. So yes, don't forget all of our other great shows on BQN. And here's Amy Nelson to talk about them.
What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Mark, Christos, and Kelvin. Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey, a self-proclaimed gamer who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. If you're lost in the Delta Quadrant, check out The Captain's Couch, a Star Trek Voyager podcast hosted by Jeremiah sitting on Janeway's Ready Room couch. Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed but should definitely check out, hosted by Mark, Matt, and Laz. Beam Aboard the Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Amy, Joe, Rhea, and Kevin. History with the Szilagys, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissie and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissie and Thad. Test your Trek knowledge with Trexperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey. Union Federation, covering all things Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Star Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Spill the Tea with What's the Tea, Bev, a Trek current events and fan interview show hosted by Christos. And for our Patreon members, we have The Hive Mind, BQN's monthly roundtable discussion with hosts and listeners. It's Green, a cornucopia of topics hosted by Mark, and Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek, hosted by Amy. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Thanks, Amy.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can listeners find you online? Do you have any work you want to mention?
Oh, yeah. So, well, if you're listeners in this network, I am also on All Good Things, which is a Star Trek Universe podcast. We jump around all a Trek, so it is a really fun show. And I also have a show called Cinema Z, where we cover some of our favorite films. Some you may have missed, so you should check it out. And that's a lot of fun. Free and loose. It's more adult themed, so maybe not family listening, but it is definitely you will laugh your butt off. So I do that as well. You can find me in the BQN Collective Facebook page. I'm on Twitter at MarkWhite207 and on Blue Sky Social, thanks to Thad, at MW207. Well, and Thad? Where can people find you when you are not jury-rigging a shuttlecraft to escape the Gorn?
Best place to find me is probably still on Twitter. I am at Tyrannicus. That's Tyranicus. I am also on Blue Sky and Mastodon. Same name, same profile picture, same everything. And you can hear me on the podcast I do with my friend Carl about James Bond and James Bond adjacent things called License to Spiel. That's license spelled with a C like the British do it. Chrissy, where can people find you when you are not making long distance FaceTime calls?
What's long distance? What's that?
Did you say
Oh my
space-time
God.
calls?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Space FaceTime. I love it. Okay, listeners, I want to hear how many of you went, what's long distance? In addition to here on Infinite Diversity, you can find me on History with the Szilagys here on the BQN, and that is that twice weekly short history podcast I do with my fellow historian partner, Jason. I'm also happy to chat about our shows in the BQN Collective on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter at the Goddess Livia. That's TheGoddessLivia, where I tweet about Star Trek history and leftist politics. And as Thad said last week, I agree. I'm just going to keep calling it Twitter. I feel like it's going to end up being Twitter again, the way
I think so.
STLV stayed STLV. But yeah, so that's that.
Thank you very much for tuning in to Infinite Diversity. Thank you to Zach Tripp for the wonderful theme music and Mark White here for the awesome show art. Please subscribe in your favorite podcast player, and don't forget to rate and review us there as well.
And if you want to reach out, you can find the network on that website formerly known as Twitter at BQN Podcasts, and our show specifically at IDIC Podcast. And you can talk about any and all of the BQN podcasts in our Facebook group, the BQN Collective. When you next hear from us, we will be talking about the new season of Lower Decks. Yay! Lower Decks.
Lower Decks.
Until then, we bid you peace and long life.
Give it all she's got, Captain.